Today I am so excited to have Chris Baden back with us. And on the last episode, we covered so much that we actually didn't get to some of the things that we were supposed to cover. And Chris told his story, and he can touch on it a little bit today just as a review. But we wanted to talk about purpose-driven prospecting. And we did start to touch on that, but he never actually got a chance to share the main points that he wanted to. Plus, we didn't even get a chance to talk about his book. So we're going to continue the conversation today. So welcome back to the show, Chris.
Kim, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to hang out, and we'll get into some more of the tactical and the training and the tools that people can take in their world with them today, right now, and start seeing results. So I'm excited for that.
So Chris, why don't you just give us a brief introduction to yourself? Because maybe people didn't listen to the last episode.
Yeah, so I got thrown into commerce 10 years ago. And I've been commission only, employing myself and others for the last 10 years of my life. And it has been fun and exciting and painful and scary and all the slew of emotion that I'm sure you listening or watching this right now have felt. Entrepreneurship is great, but it is also very, very challenging and very hard. And in the second month of my entrepreneurial journey, I'm working 70 plus hours a week for the whole month, and I made $800 for the whole month. And I learned an important lesson that shaped the rest of my journey so far, and that is I don't get paid to work. I get paid to produce results. And the way that I produce results is I have to get results for other people. I have to get results for the market that I serve. Business is just a systematic way of delivering a product or service, but the experience that you create, you have in the business, but also the experience you create for your prospects and your customers is the art, and that's the how. And so it's purpose-driven prospecting. It's starting those conversations, and it's leading into this experience that makes you stand out, in the marketplace. But more importantly, it creates a culture and environment that you absolutely love. And so, in the first 2 months of my journey, learning that I get paid to produce results, and the way that I do that is produce results for others, it taught me a hard lesson. And it's very humbling, and you have to be very honest with yourself. Am I doing that or not? And if you're not, then you go back to work and figure it out and come back the next day, when you're ready.
I loved what you said there, and how you shifted your focus to not just selling a product or a service, but obtaining a result. And I think, especially people who are in service-based entrepreneurship, you have to get results for other people because that's your product.
Yeah. And there might be some people listening, if you're wealth, health, and relationships are kind of the three main markets: wealth, health, and relationships. If you throw any business at me, they will fall into at least one of those areas predominantly. And so even somebody that is in, say, the relationship market, it's like, well, how do you measure intangibles like love or more connection? And you can still tie it to certain patterns. So for one, and what I'm saying here is, don't let any mindset or thought take you out of what result you create, because that result will help you focus on why you're doing what you're doing, why you're sacrificing time from your family, why you're putting yourself out there and dealing with loads of rejection. So it'll remind you what you're doing. It'll help your whole team focus on the actual right thing. So you'll dramatically reduce the sideways energy and frustration with team. And you'll also be able to market with full conviction on exactly what you're doing. Why does that matter? It matters because guess what? Nothing sells harder than the truth.
Yeah.
People love hearing it. You don't need to convince anybody because it's true. They already know it to be true. And for you, it feels so much better. There's no resistance or anxiety that you have throughout your sales or marketing process. You have full peace in your heart inside, and therefore full conviction to go out and share that. You're building and sharing and growing from a
Mhm.
place of peace internally rather than complete utter chaos and turmoil. And it turns out people don't really want more of that in their life. So they don't want to buy from you when you're in that place. This all said, if you're in relationships, if it's marriage counseling specifically, hey, before I talked to this married couple, the last date night was 6 months ago. Now they are consistently going on one date night per week,
Mhm.
and they're saying I love you X amount times more. They're holding hands or kissing more throughout the day compared to what they were before. You might think I'm crazy or weird, but I'm not saying that's the best or right answer for marriage counseling or relationship, but I'm just saying that there's always going to be some type of outcome, behavior, or result shift because of the service or work that you're doing.
Yeah, there's something tangible.
Yeah.
There's a tangible result. And, all of those, by doing all of those things, they now have a stronger marriage. They now have a stronger relationship. They now feel more connected to each other. But the tangibles are holding hands, saying, I love you, and going on date nights.
Like when we just got married or first started yeah, that's exactly the point. And so anyone listening, I hope that if there's only one takeaway that you get so far, it's that, hey, if I don't know, and some people will call those KPIs, key performing indicators. It's your one critical number. And if you feel chaotic, like, oh, there's too much going on, I got to do everything, that's completely normal for any business owner, entrepreneur. Know
Yes.
that you're not alone, and your saving grace will be that one critical number that gives you the permission to let those other things be set aside, rather than you put them in the junk drawer or the junk room and you close the door and you try to pretend that it's not there, but meanwhile in the back of your mind and emotionally it's sucking all the energy from you. By focusing on your one KPI, your one critical number, hey, you know what? I closed X amount of deals, or we moved the company forward in the right direction. And when that happens, everything else is taken care of. You can give yourself mental, emotional, and like physical time permission to not carry that negative or sideways energy. A great example to kind of close on this point is Southwest. You know what Southwest's critical number is?
What's Southwest and what is the critical number?
Great question. Southwest Airlines. Sorry, should have put the Southwest Airlines.
Okay.
Very very good company to evaluate, and their big number one critical number is they say it in a phrase: wheels up. Wheels
Mm,
up. Meaning, if the wheels are up in a plane, that
it's
means that
fine.
the plane is taking off and they're serving their customers. And for wheels to be up, you need to manage the pilots and the crew and the flight attendants. Maintenance team needs to be on point, so to make sure they're on time. It's the one thing that pulls everyone together. Hey, if we create this one result,
Yes.
hey, this is on fire, that's broken, someone's pissed about this, and that doesn't that person needs to be fired, or this person just had a horrible life situation and now we got to fill. There's always going to be some type. This is a
Mhm.
business, for crying out loud. This is a giant project we're talking about. Of
Yes.
course things are going to be messy, but if you have that one thing happening, hey, you at least know that you're going to live and earn the right to keep playing this game of business for another day.
Sort of reminds me of Pareto's principle, that 80% of your results come from 20% of your action. And so if you can determine, what's that 20%
Yeah,
that
yeah,
drives your business forward, that produces 80% of your results, you can get rid of the 80% of things that are dragging you down, wearing out your energy and not producing much.
yep, yep. That's it. And so, um, I think the lie is that we have to do it all. The lie is that we have to do everything.
Yeah.
And the truth is we can't.
No.
but we live in between that lie and that truth, and it's gray and it's painful and it's emotional turmoil. And so it's just having somebody say today, maybe that's just what someone needed to hear today, is just, hey, you know what, here's permission to reset, focus on one number, assess, how you serve the business, and, to accomplish something greater than yourself, it takes more than yourself. John Maxwell says it great. Hey, if you can ask for help, or you can give up on your vision. The reason that your vision is overwhelming you because it's greater than you, and the way it's not meant for you to do alone. It's meant for you to welcome others into that picture, and that's part of you're given the canvas, and that's your one color. And there's more colors that will be needed to paint the business and the service that you're putting together. So plenty of analogies, right? We could do this all day. So I think the promise here is, where do we start? How do we apply some of this stuff? And while we can, this is my opinion, good, bad, right, or wrong, the last 10 years of life has humbled me and taught me that I cannot control a lot of things, and I also can't control results. True. I cannot control when somebody decides to buy and when they decide not to buy for whatever reason. I can lead a horse to water, so to speak, but I can't make him drink. But there are ways we can give the horse some salt to make him thirsty. So maybe they're more likely to drink. And man, I got a lot of analogies for some reason today, but hopefully this is making sense with everyone listening, watching today. And let me give you some salt. Okay. Sure. While we can't control results, we can control activity. Mm-hmm. We can control activity. I don't get paid to work. I get paid to produce results. The way that I produce results is I produce results for others, and I talk to as many freaking people as I can. Yep. Because I got to go find the best person that I can get results for, and that's my or my company's responsibility. And so I boil that down into activity I can control, and write this word down: daily minimum.
I like that.
What is your daily minimum? Daily minimum is a standard. In other words, you do not go below the daily minimum or there's problems, right? Do not go below the daily minimum. Now, for me, currently, that is 15 new outreaches per day, 5 days a week. 15 new people that fit a set of criteria every single day. And I started doing that myself.
Nice.
And then it led to follow-up and a lot of conversations, and then even more phone calls. And then now I'm trying to do all of it, but then also run a company, and it was way too much. Mm-hmm. And so I started building team and system. And so now I have a team that does outreach of 15 new people per day. It's my daily minimum, right? Can't dip below that. Dip below that, hey, what happened? What fell apart? I can track that activity, and I can tell you how many new people I talked to. I can tell you how many people will respond. I can tell you how many people will book a call. I can tell you how many people will show up, and then how many people will buy. I have my sales process. And every business needs to have their own sales process. And you need to be able to see your KPIs, your key performing indicators, which are really your activity indicators. And when you simply look at these, and I have it up, I can share screen and show people a rough process that I go through if that's easier for people watching. I'm a visual person, but if not, I can talk through it in a simple way too. What do you think would work best, Kim?
Well, show it and talk through it, because this is on video and podcast as well.
I guess it's that early bird gets the worm. If podcast listeners, hey, if you come to the Facebook group, you get to see it first and also see it. I think it's
also on YouTube as well.
And YouTube. Okay. I think those share buttons on your side, just changing like the videos. There it is. Okay. So you can see we do a 3-day sales planning intensive with our high ticket clients. This is what we go through. So this is a tool that will be provided to you guys for free. So you guys can use this, and please, by all means, use this. Increase and track your activity. Impact your life in a positive way with this, not just for you, but for your relationships that are around you, for your team, for your community, for your state, for your country. Like, I know that might sound dramatic or intense, but come on, like, life is about more than just us, and
Yes.
we do affect more people, and it starts with discipline, focused, result oriented activity that we can control. So day one, we're going to focus on day three, but day one is a really powerful have, do, be exercise. What do I want to have? What do I want to do? And who do I want to be? And you write those things down, and you write roughly how much they cost. Some people, this really surprises. Oh my gosh, all the things I wanted aren't nearly as much as I wanted. Whoa, they're way more than I thought. I got to get to work. But it gives you that relativity, and it calculates the year before. Then once you know that number, you would essentially go to day two, or the second part. And I know this is kind of small, but it's okay. Like, you'll be able to see this whole thing, with the link that's provided. So now you know how much you need to generate to live the life that you want, you'd simply say, well, how much? I got to create a business that generates a net profit of that or more. And this process will say, hey, what are the products and services that I'm selling, and what amount of quantity to hit that goal? Just simply put, okay? And then that ultimately leads to, okay, well, they get to generate a business that creates that type of results. What type of activities do I need to create? And so this is just a generic pipeline that we can look at. So I can give you some ideas of what maybe your daily minimums need to be in order to accomplish what you'd like. So hopefully that's a very simple to follow, logical process. But I want to draw your attention to here. Okay, this is really important. How do you know if your daily minimums are working properly or the right way? Well, what I'm giving you here are ranges. Okay, so if you're converting at these particular range, and let me zoom in a little bit so it's easier to see. It's so small. There we go. This is much better. If you look here at the 10 to 40%, if you look here at the 20 to 50%. In the second phase, 70 to 90. What these are the ranges of what conversion you should be creating at the certain point in your pipeline. So let's walk through this together as an example. Let's say that this month you want another. How many clients do you want, Kim? 100,000.
Let's say 6.
6 clients. Okay, well let's play with this. And notice below the range, I just put a percentage that's right in the middle of the range. So let's say conversion is average for all of these, and we want 6 new clients. Let's type in 1,000 leads. 1,000 outreaches. Well, that gets you 14 clients. Okay, so not 1,000. I guess it'd be roughly half, right? Let's try 600. 8. Let's try 500. 7. I went the wrong way. Okay, so 400. Yeah, 6. So I went 100 above half. Anyway, I'm getting all spun up in numbers in my head, but we got it. So 6 clients. So we just need to do 400 outreaches. And so if there's 30 days in a month, we take 400 divided by 30. That's just 13 new outreaches, 13.3. So call it 14 outreaches per day. That's it. You just need to reach out to 14 new people per day. And with that rate, if 25% of them say, hey, you know what, I will give you some form of communication. They become a lead. I'll give you some form of communication to continue the relationship. They would be a lead. And if only 25% of them said yes, you would have 100. Currently, ours is converting about 38.7%. You can tell I'm a little nerdy with numbers. And knowing our KPIs and activity is so important. But if it's just 25, that's 100. Of the 100, let's say 35% say, yep, I'm going to jump on a call with you. And they book a call on your booking link. And of those 35, let's say only 80 actually show up, right? It'd be great if none of us got ghosted, but it happens. So that means we actually complete 28 calls. And if we only closed approximately 20%, that'd give us about 6 clients.
Wow.
Okay. There's some rounding up here, right?
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, because I mean 10% is 2.8. So But it gets you close. Maybe you need to do 412. Maybe but
Mhm.
14 new outreaches per day would get you 6 clients. Now you know your sales process. Now here's the fun part, Kim.
Mhm.
Let's say, man, our outreaches, man, we're getting 40% of people, so it's a lot higher. And our book calls are happening, but no one's showing up. We know
Then you know
exactly
where it's broken.
we know exactly where to go. There's no guesswork. Business is a systematic way of delivering a product and service. There's not any guesswork. So if you've ever had any amount of emotional or mental overwhelm or stress of wondering how you're going to make it or how you're going to hit your revenue goals, if you know your numbers and simply apply this sales activity projection here, it'll solve all that. You'll know exactly what you need to focus on and what outcome you need to see. So it takes all the guesswork out, which really frees up a lot of mental and emotional energy and capacity. And then you start sleeping better, and then you start performing better. And then you're like, here's something that I asked myself, Kim, because any given moment, I'm thinking about one of three things: building a lifelong marriage, world impacting family. I've got 3 kids under 5, and multi-million dollar businesses.
Mhm.
And what the world tells me is, Chris, you can't have it all.
Yes, you can.
You can't have successful. See, I agree with you. But as like young Chris a while ago, and I still hear it today, hey, Chris, you can't have successful, healthy relationships. You can't be a husband, father, and also, run small to big, I'd say small to mid-sized companies that do 7 to 8 figures a year in revenue, right? You can't do that, Chris. And I didn't know anybody at the time that had ever even done that. So the world tells us all kind of stories, but something inside me said, that just feels like BS. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, why? You're telling me that there's nobody on planet Earth out of 7 billion plus people that haven't had a lifelong marriage, that is healthy and passionate, that also has functioning society contributing kids, and also has a successful business, meaning they're a quality leader showing up in a powerful, impactful way for their team. And you're telling me there's not one person on planet Earth that is that? See, that's where I went. Go ahead, Rick, question, or you're saying I know somebody,
No,
or you are that
I've
person?
been married 30 years to the same man, and we have a
Yep.
great marriage. I've got 2 wonderful, responsible adult children, and my business may not be quite that big yet, but I run a successful business with teams.
And so the thing, hopefully other people hear what I continue to remind myself is, there you go, Kim's doing it, it's possible. We've been only married 7 years so far. We've got 3 kids, and it's first marriage, and again the goal is lifelong, passionate, fulfilling marriage. And then building companies. I've built 3 companies in the last 5 years in 3 different industries that have done at least 7 figures or more in sales per year. And there's no that seems impossible. It was impossible to me. I was like, that doesn't even make sense. I don't even know anyone that's done that. But I just, something inside me said, but come on, there's got to be at least one person. There's got to be at least more than one Kim in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? It wasn't but like a year and a half later where I found myself in a room where everybody was that. And there was about there's in between 30 and 40 of them. It was a mastermind, right? But I was like, now I wasn't that yet, but I just found a way to get in the room. I was the oddball, right? And and I was like, wow, look at this. And then I met more and more and more. My point is, just be careful of the stories that you're telling yourself around who you are and what you can do or what's even possible, because what we believe often will dictate our trajectory.
Yeah.
And it's not our fault that we maybe have never seen what seems impossible to us, but it is our fault if we buy into something less than that.
So true. So true. We've got a few minutes left, so I've got one question for you on your this wonderful worksheet, and then we want to get to your book. So
Yes.
my one question is, because this is, people have a hard time getting started. So they look at
Yeah.
this and they say, great, but I can already hear people in my head going, Chris, what do you consider an outreach?
Yeah. Great question. Great question. I a new new contact. So for example, specifically what we're doing and what we're finding to be the highest quality, the most personable, the best connection is just reaching out on social, specifically Facebook, saying hi. I consider a new, you can look at their profile, you can see if they're potentially a good fit for what you're doing. And here's the thing, treat other people the way you want to be treated, approach other people the way you want to be approached. That solves about 99% of the problems. Okay. Well, it's scary and I don't know what to say. That's okay. It's okay. Those can be solved. All that can be solved. And you know what? It's free.
Yeah.
And so when we bring a new product to market, service to market, that's exactly what we do, because the cold market's the most honest. They'll tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. They'll tell you why they love it, and they'll tell you why they hate it. And so we like to do that. What we did is we started doing outreach. And in fact, if I scroll down here, our first campaign of doing that type of outreach, what we did, you get one type of contact information. We just invited them to a Facebook group. And then we built some relationship. We had multiple steps in between here. But eventually, when things were warm and we qualified the person enough via profiling and chat, we'd invite them to a call. And we actually had 88% of people show up to our calls. And so we ended up getting 17 people into our high ticket mastermind. So this took about a 6-week period. We wrote just over $100,000 in business. We had no webinar. We had no funnels. We had no marketing. We had a Google Doc. We had a clear problem we solved. And we just started outreaching to people. And we followed up and we built relationship and we listened. And after about 6 weeks, we wrote over $100,000 in business. And since we've refined the process and increased price, and it's worked out well. Eventually, we'll probably do paid ads and summits and challenges and other things that are very powerful, very good. If you enjoy those things, look, all of them are good. All of them can work. How do you want to grow your business? We like to start with the least amount, hear me closely, the least amount of effort, not in trying to get away with anything. It's just, we got to move quickly. If we don't get revenue into the business, we're out of business.
Well, and for some entrepreneurs too, who have very extremely small, so, like your small entrepreneurs, your solopreneurs and that, what you have just said is golden, because it costs no money to create a Facebook group. It costs some time to create content, but I usually block out like maybe a 2 or 3 hour window a week to create content for my groups and my one page. And some of the things I'm doing can be recycled through. So I'm building out a 90-day cycle of content that will just continually repeat, because people forget it anyway. And you can do it, and all it costs you is some time. Make those connections and get it out there.
The answer is time or money. You can use your time or you can use your money. It's going to take one or both of those to grow. And here's a phrase that people don't talk about. Everyone hears, hey, it takes money to make money. It's a true statement. It's fine. It's true. But they don't tell you the second part of that is, and the clarifying part of that, which is, you didn't say it has to be your money to make money.
True.
Okay. So you can raise capital. It's one option. It's not my go-to. And so it takes money to make money. Why? It should be the market's money. It should be the customer's money. You solve a problem. You're giving your time to solve a problem. You do it so well, and in exchange for that, they give you money. Now you have money. And you can use that money to make money if you really want. But, I would start there. So it's another part of that that's really powerful is, guess what? We're talking about a conversation. It's just a conversation.
Yes.
The best copywriters are the ones that pay you, not the ones you hire. Hey, here's why I'm paying you. Like, they'll be honest with you. They'll just tell you. They're giving you all the answers to the test. You're connected to your market. I know how to solve lead gen in a very free and efficient way, and I know how to scale and build sales teams because I'm talking to coaches and consultants and agency owners. I've talked to almost 500 in the last 6 months. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're feeling. And I am that person still. Like, so it's just a very natural conversation, and you will feel the same way. Not you, I mean you, Kim, yes, but you listening and watching when you're doing that type of work. There's no shortcuts, right? But this is the systematic, and you can see our first campaign, man, we only had 17. You know why? It was ice cold. It was ice cold, but we were still above 10%, and now we've since got this up to 38%. This one's still around 37, 38%. This one's actually closer to like 82, 83% now because there's just more volume. And we actually our we tripled prices, and then our close rate went to about 12 to 15%, so, which we're totally fine with because it still equals a lot more revenue. So even though we're not closing as much, but we're making more money, and we're with like just more quality clients as well. So it's a better combo for us. Anyway, I know we got to talk about the book. Please I know I talk too much, Kim. Keep guiding me. Hopefully this is helpful for somebody listening though.
Well, we're over the 30-minute mark. We usually go about 30 minutes. So I want to ask you one question, and then I want you to answer that quickly, and then tell people how they can connect with you. So in a couple of sentences, tell me, what was the good, bad, and ugly of creating that book, of that chapter, that book, what you had done, and what it is?
Okay, well, you said good, bad, and ugly, and we joked about this before. And you don't have to keep sharing screen if you don't want. And Cam, I'll make sure I get you that link for everyone listening, watching today. Okay, you say good, bad, ugly. We were joking about this. It actually, the experience was ugly, bad, and then good. And so the ugly part was, oh gosh, like there's so many, I've got 3 kids, I'm building a business. It's like, like where am I supposed to, I already don't sleep enough. Like, well, how am I supposed to do this? And so it was just ugly. It was uncomfortable, and I calendar blocked first. I was like, okay. The bad part was I have to write, and this is just being completely vulnerable here. Like I like. There's a good chance that I'm severely dyslexic. I haven't known this like my entire life. I don't, even if I find, I might go get tested. I did like this preliminary test. They're like, I'm 34. I did well at school. I hated school. I'm a very slow reader. There's a lot of insecurities around all that. And so writing and it's just very difficult for me. I do audiobook for everything. The point is, how am I supposed to be an author? That was the bad part. And when somebody told me that ghostwriters exist, also, I can just go for my morning walk and record my voice and my thoughts, and then there's smart people that know how to put that into words, aka editors. I was like, oh, that's so. From my experience and my process, it eventually landed on good, where now, because I have so many ideas, I got whiteboards and I got notes everywhere, and every app that does all the notes, and it's just constant flow. It's really overwhelming a lot, to be honest. It was cool to see my thoughts crystallized into a tangible product that's valuable to other people, rather than it just living in my world and no one understanding what I'm solving and what experiences I'm having. And it's an experience I'd highly recommend everyone going through, even if you don't sell it and it's not for anyone else, do it for you.
Yes.
I didn't realize how much of a mess my head was, and it was very kind of frustrating at points, but very helpful. I'm like, okay, this is a good point. I see where you're coming from, Chris, but this needs some work. And to be able to kind of third party experience that and then go through it, it really helped give me clarity on what I am solving and what I am offering and what I am doing. And outside of it, it did become a bestseller in 9 different categories. We had a great team that was marketing it. Again, all these nice achievements really don't come from me. They come from smarter people than me, just to be real. But even if I didn't have all that, it really helped my messaging, conversations I'm having like this, marketing efforts. It shortened our sales cycle. There's other good benefits. So ugly, bad, good was my experience.
Cool. So, Chris, how can people connect with you if they've been listening to these last 2 podcast episodes and they're like, I need to talk to Chris about my business? How can they get a hold of you?
Facebook. Just send me a message on Facebook. That is the best way. If you'd like to email me, it's Chris, CHRIS, at salesascenders.com. And Ascenders is ASCENDERS, salesascenders, plural.com. You can email me. Messaging me on Facebook is ideal, is great. We can just chat. Again, I want to create with all this, my ethos, my mission is to create more human connection in the world. And I think that just starts with the conversation.
Thank you so much, Chris. This has been an amazing 2 episodes. So make sure if you missed the first one, you go back and listen to that as well. So this has been Kim Thompson-Pinder and Chris Baden on the Author to Authority podcast. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the very next episode. Bye now.